So what I'm doing here is I'm lapping the valves. I've done 7 so far. I'm going to show you guys what it looks like on the 8th valve. Now, if you're wondering why you might want to lap a valve, you probably already know. That's why you're here watching this video. But if you don't, it's going to make your engine a little bit more efficient, making the seals on the valves and the head smaller. Okay, so it's very important that you do this, especially if you dig this far into the engine. Might as well do it. It's not very expensive and it's not going to take you very long. All right, first off, tools you're going to need is, I like to use this little suction tool here. This is from Performance Tool. I bought it at O'Reilly's, of course, the best auto parts store. Also, you're going to need some valve grinding compound. Okay, so this is what I have, is Permatex brand, just a general valve grind. Try to get a fine grind if you can find that, otherwise it's going to work just great. All right, once you have your head removed, you have your valves removed, you have all the tools you need. Also, make sure you have some oil. I have some Marvel Mystery Oil here. I also have some shop towels, and I also have some carb cleaner. You don't need that, but it makes this a lot easier. Okay, anyway, once you have the tools you need, you can go ahead and get started. So we'll go ahead and make this as quick as possible, and I'll show you what I've learned throughout the process. All right, first thing you want to do is make sure that on your valve stem you don't have any valve grind compound. It's not dirty. It's not going to scuff up the valve guide. Once that's nice and clean, then you can start to put your grind compound along the edge of your valve. And I'm going to show you what that looks like right now. All right, here she is. Doesn't have to be perfect, but I just put a small amount of that compound all around the inside edge of the valve where it's going to be making contact with the head. Make sure you're not putting too much compound on here because it's going to run into the chamber of your head and you're going to have a big issue. All right, so just put enough to cover that inside lip there. All right, step number 2 is you want to get oil on not only the valve stem but also in the chamber right there where the valve is going to be going. That is going to be the valve guide. Okay, so make sure that this and that are nice and oiled up. I'm going to use this Marvel Mystery Oil, but you can use normal engine oil for that. That way you don't scuff up any of these parts in the process. All right, once your valve stem and your valve guide is oiled, you can go ahead and drop your valve into place. And that's it. Next up, you're going to take this suction cup and attach it to the top of your valve. Make sure you have the appropriate size suction cup. You should have 2 different sizes in your kit. Just pick the one that fits to the outside edge, the closest. This is the biggest one I have for this valve, okay? Now to get this to stick, and this is not a hard thing to do, but if you don't do it, you're gonna have a really bad time. You need to oil your suction cup as well as the top of your valve. Now don't go overboard with this because you don't want oil seeping around the valve because you're not gonna get a good grind, but just a thin layer so that the suction cup stays. And I'm gonna do that real quick. All right, hopefully you guys can see it's not a lot of oil there, just enough to coat the surface on both of these surfaces here. Now, I'm gonna press my suction cup into place, try to center it as best as possible. And you wanna press it down as hard as you can until all of the air comes out. And that air is gonna be replaced with the oil. Okay, and now your suction cup is on there securely, and I guarantee you this is not gonna pop off this entire time. All right, next up, what you're gonna do is kind of like how you've seen people make friction fire. You're gonna take both of your hands here and you're going to rub back and forth to spin this valve in the valve seat, and that is going to grind a nice edge on both, allowing them to mate very good. Now it's also very important here that as you are doing your thing, you're lifting it up periodically and setting it back down. That's gonna reset the compound, okay? So what you're gonna hear is I'm not gonna do that. You'll hear the sound of the compound. It's gonna be a lot smoother if I don't do it. You guys hear how smooth it sounds now? Now if I lift it up and drop it back down, it's gonna reset the compound. And then you're gonna have that grittiness again, okay? So make sure you guys are doing that periodically. That way it's actually grinding and it's not just, polishing the surface, all right? Now to give you somewhat a close-up of what that looks like, I'm spinning the suction cup, and every once in a while I'm just lifting it. Looks something like that. All right, so some indicators that you're either done or you're almost done are, number 1, you're gonna see the compound start to turn a lighter color. That means that all those metals are mixing into that compound. So you can see the difference in color on that paper towel there and what's in between the valve and the valve seat, okay? Also, it's gonna sound different and it's gonna feel different in your hands, okay? So even after lifting that suction cup and putting it back down and spinning it, it sounds smooth. First, I wanna show you what this looks like when I pull the valve out. You can see that I don't have any grinding compound dripping down into the chamber. That is extremely important, okay? You don't want that stuff getting into your valve guide because it's gonna gum up your valve stem and your valve guide, and then you're gonna be done. So, all right, you're gonna need a new head, or you're gonna need to do a lot of work on this block, all right? So make sure you're not putting a bunch of goop on there, just the amount that you need, and make sure you clean this stuff up really good. So what I like to do is take some shop towels and some carb cleaner. You can use brake clean, whatever works for you, and get this all off of there. So now, finally, I'm gonna take it off and show you what we got. All right, check out that valve. So you guys can see we have a nice, flat, smooth surface. There's no pitting there, and that is really what you're looking for. Now, if you look down here at our valve seat, you can see that we have a similar story all the way around that edge there. So we have a nice seal between our valve and our head, all right? Now, you can see I've done all of these so they all spin real nice and good. This one's like a little DJ, but that's what you're looking for, okay? You want nice and smooth. You want that seal to be as tight as possible so your engine is efficient. If you get this far, you're tearing the head off for whatever reason, not a bad idea to invest, 10, 15 bucks in this equipment. Take an hour and a half in the prep and the learning process to do this, and just do it, because you're gonna hit yourself on the back of the head if you get this far and you put it back together and you're like, man, while I was there, I wish I had just done that. Who knows? Maybe get better gas mileage, especially these days. So I hope you guys learned something. If you have any suggestions or anything that you would recommend that I do differently, let me know in the comments below. But otherwise, I hope you guys have a great day. Good luck with your projects, and stay safe.